2025, continuing one of last year's late themes, which was speculation in quantum, energy stocks, and maybe companies that have business models, maybe they're very early in the going. George Tsilis joining us for another overlook in this category. SEALSQ, George, ticker LAES, up 40% today. What's going on?
Well, I think there's a lot going on, OJ. Obviously there's a lot of speculation going on in these sort of narrative around quantum computing, and so we talked about WiseKey, which essentially is essentially a authentication-based business for using quantum computing. LAES, I did mention it when we covered WiseKey, was actually a spinoff of WiseKey back in 2023. So this is essentially a company that provides IoT and, of course, identity, measurements, or if you will, identity authentication across multiple devices using, of course, cryptography and quantum technologies. So it fits in that same space with the other quantum computing names. Obviously, there's a massive trend going on with this particular name, higher by, I think, about 1,800% in the last 30 days. I guess this is no joke. This is essentially a technology, from what I understand, particularly quantum computing. We're talking about speeds and the capabilities of cracking codes, including potentially blockchain. This is
Right.
what I've read. So I think, this is interesting because one of the narratives around Bitcoin and blockchain is how it's, bulletproof. And anything that can be engineered can be reverse engineered if you have fast enough technology. So quantum computing may in fact present some challenges to the entire blockchain community. So with that said, maybe that's why also a lot of these names are moving higher.
The idea being that the quantum computers will more than lap the calculations of even like the LLM AI stuff that's happening right now, large language models. But this is still remains sort of an if as they try to apply the technology to real software products. Whereas a lot of this is hinging on the functioning ability of quantum semiconductor replacements, basically. So it seems to me that there's still is very much an experimental degree of, it's still an experimental status, a lot of the hardware, though.
It is, and that's the thing. Obviously, trends start manifesting based upon expectations of implementation and technology and innovation. I'm not discounting quantum technology. I think there's something here.
Right. Like everything on their website,
Google.
Sorry, George. Everything on their website is couched in terms of will be, or people have to prepare as companies get ready for. Like it's all in this language of like not like here it is, here's what it is. They say quantum systems will be able to break widely used asymmetric security protocols. So like there's a lot of this in theory still.
It is. And so, I'm just going to go back and look at some of the bigger players in the quantum space right now, and that includes Google and IBM. And, one of the things, it's kind of hard to describe all this because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. So, if you look at Google's Chrome, for instance, that platform provides authentication across multiple devices, but within that ecosystem of Google Chrome. So I can log in on any device using Google Chrome for all my password and authentication. From what I understand, technologies that are, that are starting to evolve in this space, including WiseKey and LAES or SEALSQ, they're potentially going to allow for and complement the authentication amongst different devices and different ecosystems altogether. So to me, that's going to be very value added to, this whole technology ecosystem of connected devices. And that includes your smart home and your auto, EV charging. It also extends to the military, factory automation, and healthcare and so forth. So I think this will be interesting to see it manifest over the years. But obviously, there's a huge run up as of late based on, again, expectations that may not manifest for quite some time. But anytime you start challenging or potentially challenge, another technology, it's like, one technology can cannibalize another. that becomes another aspect to consider, and that includes cybersecurity companies like Palo Alto's and your CrowdStrike. They may be now in trouble in terms of quantum computing adaptation to break into their security systems, and also blockchain. So I think this merits a lot of interesting research. But from an investing standpoint, right now you got to go with the trend. The trends are obviously higher. This company, LAES, they are issuing secondaries. They issued, $100 million mixed shelf offering on the 20th of November. If you go back, and there was a 10 million direct on the 13th, 25 million on the 18th. They've been taking advantage of this, issuing shares, and they keep being bought up. And lastly, I'll say this, that there may be an element, obviously, of the short squeeze, 40% or give or take a percent or two of short interest. But at the same time, options started trading recently. And so what's happening as well is potentially a bit of a gamma squeeze, because those who are buying call options, market makers are selling calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their portfolio. And that's creating this feedback loop of price actions moving higher.
Well, the stock debuted above $10, chopped around and before crashing, and trading as a penny stock for over a year. I mean, obviously, risk is the name of the game here. And it also seems that $10 is going to be a tough one to get through if there's going to be a bunch of early investors trying to dump after the stock. That was such a key pivotal point that it broke down through back in 2023, rather. All right. Well, they've done a little bit of revenue, like $5 million last quarter. So we'll keep an eye on them. Thanks, George.